We are talking about upwards of 200,000 new manufacturing jobs across the green economy.
Black and brown communities have this great opportunity to be at the front of the line for the jobs of who maintains these EVs and EV chargers and batteries, who manufactures the EVs, the EV chargers and the batteries, and how do you make sure that those jobs are good middle wage jobs that provide you and your families with living wages and generational wealth, right? So we are seeing this really, really important shift on how we talk about maintenance, manufacturing, kind of green jobs in general, making sure what we call is high road. So those are going to be jobs that hopefully provide union benefits or benefits that are in line with union wages, and making sure that you have the protections. And then we want to make sure that the people that are getting those jobs are from the communities that have been most adversely affected by diesel pollutions or goods movement or the kind of tailpipe emissions that come out there. So this is like that once in a generation opportunity. When we have it, we really want to take advantage of it. How do we provide those workforce development classes and target, those black and brown communities? And how do we make sure that they are able to participate in this, EV green revolution in a way that is substantial and sustainable for them and their families?
If we want to decarbonize at the pace and scale we say we need to, 50% by 2030, net zero by 2050, we need people. And we need people to want to work in these jobs. And so that's why I think a union is really important. I think it's important in this economy, especially because it's new, right? There aren't standards set. So how we change the contours of this job will have impacts for the workers and the people who are coming into those jobs, their families, their friends, their communities. If you can say, hey, I have this amazing battery job that pays me $30 an hour and I get good benefits, good healthcare, that is transformative, right? That's transformative for your family. That's transformative for the way you can move through the world. And I think particularly for this industry, unions are going to be so important because workers need to be able to develop the conditions of this new economy that we're entering. It cannot just be determined by company executives who aren't doing the work day to day, right? And I think there's a lot of space, especially in a time where we don't necessarily have 10,000 skilled workers in the battery industry to change what that looks like.
There's this concept of the silver tsunami because our manufacturing workforce has aged so significantly and they're all set to retire in the next 5 to 10 years. And we also told our young people not to do these types of jobs. We said that these jobs were not good jobs. They weren't union jobs if they were started, in the 70s and the 80s, 90s, what have you. And we pushed people into four-year universities. We said, go to college, go get a white-collar job, don't do this work. And now we're in a situation where our young people are very much in debt for degrees that can pan out for some and don't pan out for others. They're looking for alternative sources of work, but no one gave them that hand of, here are manufacturing jobs, here is an opportunity in the manufacturing space. And now we have all of these jobs. We have a whole green economy that we need to build and manufacture. And we have a silver tsunami that's going to happen, leaving huge gaps in our workforce and our ability to meet those employment needs. What we're seeing is, I would sort of categorize it as 3 separate areas of jobs. You have your operator jobs, your production jobs. These are the people that are operating the machines that, turn the lithium into our cathode active material, turn the cathode active material into the cathode, bring the battery together, build the cathode with the anode, with the separator, with the electrolyte, make those cells into packs. Those machines are really important for us to build the battery, and the people who are operating those machines have a very important job because these machines are complex. They're new, understanding when things go wrong, understanding how to do it properly, understanding what health and safety looks like. Those are all components of this type of job, but I would largely classify them as operator jobs, production jobs. The second category of jobs that I've been seeing a lot in our work is maintenance jobs. So these are what we call skilled trades jobs. We see them already outside of the green space. There are things like electricians, for example, or maintenance technicians. These are the people that come in and know how to fix problems when they're created, right? Maybe the machine malfunctions. You have to have an electrician come in and take a look, make sure it's installed properly, make sure the wiring is right, make sure, identify what the problems are and actually fix it. That requires more training. That's true inside the green space and outside the green space. The third is what I would call sort of personnel jobs, right? So this is wide ranging, that's HR, that's inventory, that's, maybe sort of clerical work, paperwork, really sort of making sure that the operations of a factory are run properly. And, this is all I'm thinking about sort of accessible jobs. Anyone can do these jobs. Anyone can be trained to do these jobs. And then there's that sort of second rung of jobs where you have to maybe go to school, get a little bit more training. I'm thinking about engineering jobs, chemical jobs, jobs that require maybe 2 to 4 year degrees.
With all this new infrastructure requires people to maintain them, to build them, to service them, right? There's this entire economy, right, around new infrastructure and the transformation, right, of our economy to meet that need. And so, Valley Vision, as part of our work through the state's California Jobs First initiative, we've been working to bring the region together around an initiative called We Prosper Together. And this We Prosper Together initiative is across the 8-county Sacramento region. Really, our big opportunity here to build the economy of the future that is inclusive and sustainable and that meets the needs of all residents. And so through this program, we're not only providing funding and resources for people to develop projects that train the next generation of workers and do it sustainably, but also we're helping secure funding to implement those projects through the state of California. So this is really a transformative effort for the Sacramento region, and it's centered on the sectors, the parts of our economy that really have the best opportunity for growth, right? And so that's what's really unique about this particular program.
So what the Lowrider project did for our school was also open an avenue where we could expand our pathways. So we added an electric vehicle auto maintenance pathway to our program. For SAVA, this project and our electric vehicle pathway make an impact in our community through multiple avenues. We're preparing young people to be aware of the industry and to be prepared to go into the industry, which there is a need for industry-ready young people to go straight into electric vehicles or, battery production. There's so many different components to this that there is, and it's such a new and upcoming industry that they're reaching out to get young people and students to be able to be prepared to go into this industry. So we are preparing our students to hopefully make an impact and help supply a workforce for electric vehicles. Through this project, students have really been able to discover different aspects of vehicle maintenance, electric conversion, and there are so many components to all of that, where they're learning about all those different components, but then they're also finding interest and specializing more in specific things. So when you're looking at an electric vehicle conversion or you're looking at auto maintenance, there are aspects that can be more concentrated on, be it the wiring of the vehicle, be it the maintenance of the battery, be it the the collision side where you're needing to get a dent out, repaint, or buff a light bulb. There are many aspects to this. And then when you look at the lowrider and the cultural side, there's also pieces that we had to take field trips for our students to go see because they weren't actually able to do the work. So that included like chroming different pieces of the car. That included field trips to the hydraulic maintenance shop where they learned how hydraulics work and how the hydraulics are going to work when it becomes an electric vehicle. It also looks at the stereo and the audio side. So how do you put in a stereo in a vehicle? What is the electricity needed for that? All of those components are part of the project. In addition, where are we going to place the batteries? Is the best place in the hood? Is the best place in the trunk? Is it under the seat? How many batteries? The battery evolution is changing every month. So we've actually had to go through multiple purchases of batteries, but the students have been part of that along the way, and they've had to take a scanner to scan the measurements and do 3D images. They have to, our students are then working with our manufacturing students to do 3D printing of parts. So there's a lot of different components that then our students recognize and realize and become even more interested in and specialize in. And with that knowledge, not only is that going to support them in what they want to do after high school or eliminate what they don't want to do after high school, because some of that exploration is just finding out what you don't want to do. So we're preparing them for those jobs after high school. They can specialize in any of those areas.